All right, Nick. If you do this long enough, chat. Just a couple bloops. Certainly probably not going to get a blast, but maybe we can get enough bloops that we can maybe make this thing interesting. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your loyal support on a night like tonight where not a whole lot's gone right for the Cincinnati Reds as they have thankfully scored a run. If you think about it, Nick, they scored a run in the 9th inning there in Chicago. Otherwise, we would start to have the inning tracker out.
Oh, yeah,
Of how many runs in a row the Reds, or how many innings in a row the Reds haven't scored a run. Because once you get past 14, it's like a thing, you know?
Yeah. Kind of shows how meaningless sometimes those stats are, because
Definitely does.
This is nothing better than that, but it doesn't count. So
exactly.
Yeah. See that doing.
Nice to have Welsh back on the broadcast. You know, that was a very, very, very nice, good breath of fresh air.
Doing pregame, postgame, and the TV broadcast.
Got it all. Well, folks, for those that are just tuning in, 3-2 on Spencer Steer. We got a man on first base.
3-2. 3-2.
Am I that far behind? I'm that far behind.
No, you're 2 pitches ahead of me. What is this?
No way.
I wonder if my internet went out earlier.
Oh. Well, nice to be ahead. We swung at ball 4, down by 7.
Okay, I skipped that, so I didn't see it. I hit the live button and it went past Steer running back to the dugout.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the thing about swinging at ball 4 when you're down by 7. You do get the game over quicker. Boy, I tell you what. We're getting super chats arguing about who's better, Gavin Lux or Will Benson. I thought we were down. I thought this game was bad, but boy, oh boy, is that taking it to a whole nother level.
That was a point of content on the Chatterbox Sports Discord.
Oh boy, they were arguing about that for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just felt like some kind of political thing, you know? The folks where they hold what do they call that? Hold recess or something, where they're just like I don't even know if that's the right term. I probably should know more about my governing
bodies.
Yeah, my governing bodies and what they do. Filibuster. Those are all a bunch of buzzwords you hear. Got to mix those in, a little bit of word salad, and you sound like you know what you're talking about. I don't know. You know, these games can be done. We've done these games before. I have 100% sat here and did an hour show with games like this before. We've done it. The issue is that when you get like 3 of them in the same week, your material is insanely low.
No, Elvay.
Oh, no.
Come on, brother. Who's this dude that just throws 100? I like the optimism, Jacob Doyle. Some of that Keller career ERA was when he was really bad early in his career, though. Like the optimism.
Yeah.
And there she is.
All right. Good to call. All right, folks, you know the drill. We'll be back in just a moment, and we're going to do a baseball show called Chatterbox Reds. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Bench to bench. Change into the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. It's the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in force rate. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatteberg's a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my. That is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the line, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! They did! Reds win! Reds win! Line into right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy moly. This is the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, welcome into a losing edition of Chatterbox Reds, and quite the significant variety. There was football in Cincinnati happening today, and oddly enough, you would have thought maybe perhaps this was the score of the first quarter. 7-0. The Pittsburgh Pirates take care of your Cincinnati Reds. I'm numb to it, to be honest. I kind of expected this result going into it, and whether it's 7-0, to make myself feel better, what's the difference between 7-0, Nick, and 4-2, 4-3, 3-2, 2-1? Maybe this is why you kind of feel at times during this season, maybe that this team isn't as good as what their record is, because I'll be honest, Nick, like their record's better than how I feel about them. And I do think that probably because you run into 3 straight 1-0 losses earlier in the year, and that feels pretty bad. And you get beat kind of like nights like tonight every so often, and that's happened the last 2 days. Some would say, well, it wasn't 7-0. Yeah, they scratched around and run in the 9th inning. Kudos to them in Chicago, but the offense was relatively non-existent. It was non-existent again tonight, Nick. I don't want to like act as if it's not a big deal, because every game's a big deal at this point moving forward. But it doesn't make me feel maybe any differently than I did yesterday about this team. Did it do anything differently to you?
No, I mean, we said coming in, you need to try to split the Skenes-Keller first 2 games, and I mean, clearly didn't get the split version of it tonight, and need to get a win tomorrow. Just a weird baseball team. I mean, that's the most hits that Skenes has given up in his big league career, 47 starts. The Cincinnati Reds tonight, the most hits he's ever given up, and never really felt like they were threatening outside of that first inning. It's a weird baseball team. It's a weird season.
Yeah, we'll do the box score recap here in just a second, but before we jump into that, to add to your point there, it just felt like they got hits at the wrong time. Like, you get a big 2-out double, but then it's like, well, how are we going to get this guy across? You get 2 guys on in the very first inning, which I'm sure we'll get to, and our guy Chris Welsh was asking, are you gonna take a chance and move the runners here? Are you gonna take a chance to move the runners here? I think he said it one more time. Are you gonna take a chance to move the runners here? Reds ultimately decided not to do that, something that they kind of did do back again in the yesteryears, where you felt like this team was the running red legs. They have not done that a whole lot. They've not, as much as we want to talk about the small ball portion of what this team does, they don't seem to do much running in what I would consider aggressive or semi-risky running spots. Does it make the difference in the entire game? No, but ultimately Austin Hayes would bounce into I think a 6 unassisted double play, or maybe it was a 4 unassisted double play, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, it's
I had that spot in my notes. I mean, of one of the most interesting things. I was very surprised. I mean, Hayes fouled off 5 pitches in a row on 3-2. Well, they weren't all 3-2. One was 3-1, but fouled off 4 pitches in a row on 3-2, and they didn't send the runners one time, with McLean on second, Elly on first, with Paul Skenes on the mound. I just do, and the catcher has like thrown out only 18% of runners this year. It just, I don't understand why you didn't maybe try to see if you couldn't get something going there. And I could have changed the game. I mean, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
So I don't. That's very surprising to me. Why they didn't, try to steal a base with 3-2 with those 2 runners on base.
Felt like obviously they thought Skenes had swing and miss stuff, and probably felt like the chances of his swing and miss, leading to a strike him out, throw him out, was higher than they'd like it to have been. But the thing with Paul Skenes is you got to try to find a way to steal some runs. Like, you're probably not going to, and they didn't, even though you said that he'd given up the most hits he's given up in his major league career. If that's the most hits he's given up in his major league career, I'd like to see the rest of his starts, because it never felt like the Reds were really in a position to get to him. So kudos to, I guess, Skenes mostly, but even more so, if that's the case, well, you gotta try to, you talk about manufacturing runs, you gotta try to find a way to do that. But it's just, well, let's get into let's jump into the box score recap. Otherwise, we're probably going to go down a rabbit hole and talk for 45 minutes without a one, and that would not do what we normally do on the show. So, Nick, box score recap presented by yourself.
All right, Reds taking on the Pirates, game 1 of 4 at PNC Park. Brady Singer against Paul Skenes. Reds got off to a pretty good start. Matt McLean and Elly De La Cruz singled off Skenes, but then Austin Hayes grounded into a double play on the 9th pitch of the at-bat to end the inning. Brady Singer quickly retired the first 2 batters in the bottom of the first, but then he gave up a solo home run to Bryan Reynolds, and then the Pirates, at a big 2-out rally, put across 2 more runs to take a 3-0 lead. Singer put up a 0 in the 2nd and 3rd inning, but then gave up another run in the 4th, and his day would be done quickly. Final line for Singer, 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. The Reds would get 7 hits off Paul Skenes, the most he has ever allowed in a start in his big league career, but the Reds could not bring anyone around to score against the NL Cy Young frontrunner. Final line for Skenes, 6 innings, 7 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts. Pirates added another run in the bottom of the 6th, 2 more in the bottom of the 7th, and the Reds would ultimately fall 7-0. Reds fall to 60-56 on the season. And with the Mets and the most of the National League off today, Reds fall to 3.5 games out of a playoff spot. Reds are now 19-42 in Pittsburgh since 2018. And one other note on the game, Bryan Hayes went 1 for 3 in his return to PNC Park. Hayes got a very nice ovation from the Pirates fans.
All right, we got a deep drive of the day. We got to go down to Louisville to get it. Ryan Vilade, shout out to him. He had a 2-run home run, 13th of the year. That would be 99 miles an hour off the bat. It's nice in AAA because you do get at least some of the StatCast stuff. Is it Vilade, Vilad?
You had it.
Who knows at this point? Could he help the Reds? Maybe. Some are saying maybe. I don't know. Toledo, though, for those that are wondering, they're still leading 8-3. Because the Louisville Bats just probably felt like they were part of the Reds farm system tonight and decided not to win. DSC, though, they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. You know what? Hayes getting a nice ovation was kind of cool. That was like, players don't really get to choose how they exit sometimes. And I will tell you something. I felt like the way that the fans treated Alexis Diaz a few weeks ago when he came in for the Dodgers, and I get it, it's an opponent. I get that it was also maybe a tight game. But like, I just felt like the boos were a little overboard personally. Like the guy didn't leave because he had a holdout or, wanted more money or anything like that. The guy left because we told him he wasn't good enough to play here anymore. I mean, he tried his, I feel like he put his best foot forward. So I thought that was really neat. A guy that they paid a good amount of money to, and he underperformed to the standards that they probably thought that he was supposed to perform to. But maybe they loved his character. Maybe they loved, the personality that he brought. I don't know totally. I wasn't in Pittsburgh as a fan. But, that was actually, that put some faith back in humanity a little bit. That restored some faith. A lot of people say bad things about Pittsburgh in this town. I got to tell you, that was nice.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was I thought he'd get like maybe a nice little courtesy, a few cheers, whatever. But yeah, I mean they did it long enough to where he had to stop and tip his cap. So shout out to them. Yeah, I agree with you. When we were at that game, I did not like that people were booing Alexis Diaz. Like Alexis Diaz was an all-star. I mean, he had a really good run and it didn't work out. But I didn't. That left a bad taste in my mouth. So shout out to Pirates fans. They showed up. That was good, and I guess that's maybe a good sign for what the Reds got in Bryan Hayes. That if he was this bad offensively this year and last year, and the Pirates fans still had that much admiration for him, I mean, at least you got someone that has that kind of character to get that kind of ovation.
I felt the same way. Paul Skenes obviously was the starting pitcher. You had mentioned he's the front runner to win the Cy Young Award for the National League. And you know what? He's just that guy. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. He's got the velo. He's got the command. At least he's got plenty of command enough to be effective. And then on top of that, he's got some really good off-speed pitches, and that's really obviously difficult to hit. It's just so hard to sit here and act as if your offense that you already know is, below average. You already know they're inconsistent. It's really hard to be a genuine realist and expect a whole lot in this game, Nick. I'd like to give Paul Skenes a ton of credit here and say, well, he pitched around a little bit of trouble and he just threw excellent pitches time and time again. I'll meet in the middle. I'll say that we're not great offensively, and I know that he's also good, so that's why you get blanked, and it seemed very, very, very obvious that this was very possible. Did you take away anything more than that, or did you have an insight on Skenes that you liked or didn't like?
I mean, he's a great pitcher. I don't make a whole lot out of this game today. I was a little perplexed why they didn't, try to steal in the first inning. But again, this lineup it's just not enough thump, and it's hard to score runs in baseball today when you have pitchers that are as talented as Paul Skenes. And like even the guy that came in the ninth inning, I've never heard of him. He throws 100 miles an hour. It's just hard to hit single and score runs that way. And that's why your offense feels so terribly inconsistent, because you just don't have enough thumpers. So I don't make a whole lot out of tonight, but it just kind of is a small piece of the overarching issue that is the Reds offense.
My apologies, because I don't have StatCast in front of me. I can probably pull it up as we kind of move through the show and get probably a clear picture on whether or not my eyes told the truth. I thought the Reds hit some balls hard tonight. I thought they hit some ball. They hit some balls that I would even say I don't know what StatCast said in regards to the parks they would have been a home run in. Maybe they would have been wall scrapers everywhere. But I can't sit here and act like they didn't have some quality at bats. They really did. It's just that they just didn't have. And this kind of goes back to the point that we've made in the past. And I think what maybe the folks that say, having guys in this lineup that do strike out but also can hit the ball over the fence or hit the ball off the wall, et cetera, we need more of those guys. This is the case in point tonight on why you need that. You can get as many hits as you'd like, but it's really hard against excellent pitchers, guys that you might be playing against when it means the most. And I'm not here to say that, Paul Skenes is every single player that you're going to, or every single type of pitcher you're going to face in the postseason. But you're not going to be going out against fourth and fifth starters and banging them up and making yourself feel like, oh, wow, the offense is good. You're going to be going against quality arms. That's what you're going to be going against. It's really hard to get 4 or 5 hits in an inning, 6 hits in an inning, to produce crooked numbers, 2, 3, 4 runs. Tonight was an excellent point for that. I mean, they did put the ball in play. They did hit the ball hard, I felt like. Just unfortunately for them, they don't have quite enough pop, right? They just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm not really disappointed and I'm not mad. I don't know. Maybe I'm too numb. Maybe I'm past that point of the season. I don't know yet. I'm sure something will piss me off if we don't find a way to win one of these games in the series, but tonight felt like they just didn't deserve to win from the very, very get-go.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, all right, Brady Singer, I guess we'll jump into him. We lost the game in the first inning, and largely because Paul Skenes kind of got out of his jam, and Singer was incapable of doing that himself. Just got behind, Nick. I got behind guys, walked guys, felt like his command wasn't there. This has been him too, though. Like he goes out against the Rays and basically throws almost a complete game shutout, and next time out he kind of faces, I guess, the Pirates, and they're not very good, and he makes them look a lot better than they are because he can't throw the ball over the plate. That's the story of the Singer.
Yeah, I mean, he could have come in pitching much better. 1 run in last 13 innings, last 2 games, and today was just surprising. I mean, I think that's the first time he's walked that many batters since May. I mean, he's had some games where he struggled with command, but overall he hadn't really had any struggles with walks over the last month and a half or so. So that was a little different, and I don't know, just wasn't his night. I guess if you're gonna have a bad night, you're gonna have 7 runs in this series. I guess glad you have it on the Skenes night. I mean,
yeah.
Like the night where your chances are the slimmest. So you got to play good baseball these next couple days. I mean, I mean, you have to get out of here with a split, but even that's gonna feel gross.
I think a split keeps you in it, right? Split keeps you in it. Split's very much like, as the analogy I used yesterday, which I guess I'll just keep on using it. A split would feel like we gave up a first down on the first play of the drive. We're not out of it, but now we're getting closer to having to be almost exactly perfect, which is you got to get a stop, you got to get the punt, you got to be able to go down the field and score within less than a minute for 70 yards. I don't know. I know that there's maybe too many football puns, but the Bengals show is going to be right after this, so make sure you stick around. We'll get to that in just a second. But if they find a way to win 3 games in this series, I wish this is how I wish this is the model of how this season would have gone, right? Because it feels like the opposite of this. It feels like we lose far too many games that we felt like were very winnable. And then we, on the other hand, sometimes will win games of this variety, and you feel like there's never been that opportunity to quote-unquote steal games. The Reds have not stolen that many games this year. So I don't know. I know. Maybe people want to see some upsetness, or they want to hear somebody get really, really mad. I don't think this is the time and place for it. I really don't. I don't think that tonight's the night that you can get totally upset with the result, because going into the game, I would say that they probably were. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm gonna say that they were probably the underdog.
Surely.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't look up the betting line, but You gotta pick up the pieces and you gotta move on. It's as simple as that. And that's where this team is kind of has been their best. I mean, they genuinely have. You want me to be the optimistic guy tonight? I kind of am. I think that if there has been anything, this is when they rise to the occasion. So we'll get to that in just a second. 988, you can always, as a reminder, text and or call day or night. It's okay to not be okay. It's a 24/7 hotline. And again, you can text or call 988 anytime. They have folks at the ready to provide some help. Mantherapy.org is also a good resource for some help on a variety of topics. So thank you to 988 and the service they provide, and a good friendly reminder to all of us here that is a possibility. We have some super chats that we're going to jump into right now. Thank you for supporting our show. We very much appreciate it. OJ's Bronco has been really, 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 really avid in the chat. Perhaps some are saying might be the reason why there was a 20-second delay. I'm not going to say it, but some are saying. He said, Lux, 3 for 4. LMAO. Ben saying 260 on base. Thanks for proving my point. That's what you did it, OJ. Got to tell you, you and that Bronco, man. Tonight's the night. You were right. I mean, if that's how easy life was, I mean, boy, oh boy, how great would it be? You could just pick the night and say, man, look at that, I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm going to go out tonight and just be like, hey, kids, did you hear? There is no moon anymore. No moon at all. I'm going to walk out tonight and be like, see, look at the sky. You see a moon? There's no moon out there. Well, wait till tomorrow.
I mean, you could go ahead and start putting out a spot in the Reds Hall of Fame for Gavin Lux.
Right. Yeah, no. I mean, here's the thing about this is what sucks about where we're at in fandom is like we do this. I don't understand it. I mean, I really don't. We're sitting here arguing over I don't know. I don't really want to even be disrespectful to our players, but like we're arguing over, I mean, what are we doing? Genuinely. Who cares who's better, really? I mean, I don't know. They both have had their moments. They both were top prospects. They both, I believe, were first-round picks. I don't know. Jacob Doyle says, we have been down like this a bunch of times this year, but we've always responded well. Best part about Tito. You know what? That's what I was just kind of getting to is like, if there is a time where you feel like you're out, that's the time the Cincinnati Reds play their best baseball. So, just be prepared. Tomorrow might be that day. And as you mentioned, Nick, we just had to split these first 2 games because the back 2 games are games you'd like to think that you can take care of. Now, you never really truly know with this ball club, but we will see. And Quilo the Great says, if you looked at the Reds' offensive stats, you'd think they played in a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and that's the problem with the offense. No pop in a tiny stadium is almost impressive. So I think what he was trying to say, if you look at the Reds' offensive stats, you wouldn't think they played. You would have think. Okay, he was right. My brain's just not working. You'd think they play in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Yeah. They don't. I don't know, man. We know we've done this too long, chat. We've done this too long, folks. We have done it all year long. And I have tried to tell everybody, I'm not doing this. I got yelled and screamed at 3 nights ago about how I was upset and I was a little concerned about the fact that this offense has continued to not look that impressive. And I look up and down the lineup, and I don't see a whole lot there that makes me get all that excited. And they won 3-2. And the reason they won, I don't want to remind everybody, but we got an excuse me single, and then we had a check swing double down the line by Elly, and then Ian Happ had a brain fart out there in left field and was doing the basically circling around the baseball for 5 minutes, and he allowed everybody to score. It was Matt McLean, weak ground ball. And it's not to say that I don't think that, you know, that's important. I'm glad we won. We won 3-2, but you can't sit here every night and let the results every single time dictate the way you feel. I mean, you got to at least pull the reins back and be like overlooking this thing from a month perspective, from maybe even longer than a month perspective. This is who we are. So let's not act like this is something we don't know about. You know? I mean, could you imagine being upset at your wife because she came home and she was the same size as she was her whole entire life and be like, why the hell aren't you taller, babe? I mean, you'd be an idiot. That's what we do on this show. We act like this offense is...
Good rebound.
That wasn't a rebound. That's exactly where I was going.
Good rebound.
I'm just saying, that's what we do. We act like, you know, something that we know exists is not the same. And then all of a sudden when we see it, we're like, what happened? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd argue that their offensive performance tonight was better than that game in Chicago that you were talking about.
Yeah, it kind of was. I mean, they didn't.
Especially when you factor in who they were facing on the mound.
That's a fair point by you. I mean, they just didn't get the timely hits. They didn't get the hits in consecutive order to make it all add up. But collectively, I mean, you want to talk about pissing some people off. I think you're right. I really do. Anyway, got anything to add? You're just trying to steer clear of the analogies about wives.
Yes, I'm definitely steering very, very clear of that. You were on an island there, brother.
All right.
I don't know. What are you talking about tonight? Like, they lost 7-0 to the Pirates. Paul Skenes is great. You need to win the next couple games. Like, I'm sorry, that's the show.
That is the show. I don't know. That is the show. I actually think that's why this show is good. I actually think that's why this is good. I don't sometimes understand why everybody, loves this as much as they do from time to time because, I just would tell you humbly, I appreciate all the support that we get, and we try to be entertaining, we try to be fun, but I also think genuinely deep down we are realists. I think we try to display our emotions the best we can. There's no clickbait material really on this show as much as people might think that we do that. We don't do that. Like, there's no intent to be like, let's kind of stoke this flame a little bit, Let's really dive into the Gavin Lux versus Will Benson debate on this show tonight and see if we can't really piss some people off. No, it's not the point of being a fan, in my opinion. The point of being a fan is to enjoy your baseball team and watch them play and then have a reasonable discussion and some insight about what's good and what's bad. Tonight is not the night to get overly upset about this. This is not the night. We have some nights coming up that we could do that, but this isn't the one. We're A-okay here. Would it have been nice? Yeah, but I mean, Brady Singer was going up against Paul Skenes. Look that match up in about 10 years and see what you think about it. Anyway.
Skenes is, he just doesn't walk anyone. Like, the craziest thing about what makes him so good is, like, that he throws that hard, that his pitches move that much, and he, like, he doesn't walk batters either. Like, that's what makes him, and Skubal too. Like, that's what makes those two pitchers so elite is that they have both of those.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really wish I had more to say on this show that I thought was insightful. But when you watch this game, I just don't know what else there is to say. I mean, I'm going to look it up now. Nick, do you have StatCast in front of you? Not to turn into a nerd on the show.
They had 8 hard hit balls against Skenes.
So, and how many of them were outs?
A lot of them. Lux actually had a ball that would have been a home run at GABP. It was a home run in 10 Parks.
Yeah, ball up on the wall over there in right field. Yeah, he hit it well. I mean, it almost feels like that was their luck tonight. You know, Gavin Lux finally has the power to hit one out of a place, and it's just not out because we're playing at a different ballpark. So,
of the 8 hard hit balls, 3 of them were outs, but one of them was a double play. So,
yeah. I think we do.
That's why. Did you think that double play from Hayes was hit 101 off the bat? It did not look like that was hit 101.
Yeah, it felt like they just were. They played him in the right spot. So, you know, what was
feels like a weaker hit than it is.
Yeah, and I'd also say, like, what was not to get into the launch angles of the world, but my guess is it was hit into the ground pretty good.
Yeah, the old -22.
Yeah, I mean
the Shogo Akiyama special.
Right. So yeah, when you pound a ball 22 degrees straight into the ground, it doesn't wind up being as hard as it would when it gets to the fielder as if it was maybe a line drive. Leave it at that. So I don't know. I'd like to give us more credit than maybe some are giving us, but kind of is what it is. So doing my very best to stretch this out in a way in which, you know, is fair and reasonable. But I think I'm reaching to a point where I got to go back into the bag and start thinking of some things. So in that time, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some Reds MILB. And when you come back, I'll see if this little brain, it's like the little engine that could right now, could come up with some storyline in this game that we think is vitally important. Other than we got our ass kicked in Pittsburgh, we probably should just go to bed, wake up tomorrow, and see if we can't play better baseball tomorrow. That's probably what we should do. But we're not going to do that when we come back.
All right, little Reds MILB. AAA Louisville, they lost 9-4 to Toledo. Benson 0 for 3 with a walk. Christian Encarnacion Strand 1 for 3, double and a walk. Sal Stewart on base 3 times, 1 for 2, 2 walks. Hector Rodriguez was 1 for 5. And then Ryan Velarde, what a day. He had a second home run in the 9th inning, 2 for 4. He's got 14 home runs down at AAA this season. Lyon Richardson really struggled in his return, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, did not get through an inning. Connor Phillips struck out the first 3 batters that he faced, but then he gave up a solo home run. Although the solo home run was hit just 344 feet. That's the only game that has gone final. Chattanooga currently tied with Birmingham 2-2 in the bottom of the 8th. Jay Allen has a pair of hits and a triple. Leo Balcazar is 1 for 3 with a double. Edwin Arroyo has 2 hits. And then Cam Collier actually got the day off. High A Dayton, they are trailing Lake County 7-3. That game is in the 9th inning. The Dragons, not a whole lot in this one. Carlos Sanchez is 1 for 4. Yerlin Confidant 1 for 4. And then Carlos Jorge did not play. Dayton, man, they really need some wins. They've been really struggling of late. Only a game out of a playoff spot entering today. They trail 4-1 to Jupiter. That is in the bottom of the 8th. Alfredo Duno is 0 for 3 with the walk. Tyson Lewis is 1 for 3. Arnaldo Lantigua 1 for 4 with a double. And then out in the Dominican Summer League, both games were rained out today. So that is your Reds MILB.
One thought I have is obviously the folks that are discussing perhaps what you're going to do with some of the budding stars in AAA, as we'll call them, the guys that you'd like to think that maybe if they got called up, they would make an impact. The reality is that if this team is trying to make the postseason, which I think that's what our goal is. I don't know how realistic that quite is, but let's just say, for instance, right now that's the main goal, and it should be. I don't think if this team plays in a manner in which can get them to the postseason, you're going to see those guys. The only way you're going to see those guys is if things kind of maybe fall apart a little bit. And by fall apart, I mean they just played 500 baseball for another, call it week and a half, 2 weeks, because at that point you're going to get yourself in a spot where you're just so far back. I don't think you can make up the ground to possibly get it done. And it especially will happen after you get that stretch of baseball, as we said, in the first or second week of September, where you play the Padres and the Mets back-to-back in a 6-game kind of home then road series. So if you want to see those guys, I'm going to just forewarn you that there's a high likelihood that if you do see them, it's going to be meaningless baseball.
The Reds are going to have a very difficult 40-man roster crunch this offseason because they have a lot of players on the 40-man roster at AAA. Now, some of them, like Connor Joe, and with all due respect to Ryan Velade and his incredible night tonight, he's probably not a guy you're too worried about taking off the 40-man roster. Jake Fraley, I'm pretty confident, is going to be non-tendered. Tyler Callahan, unfortunately, probably will get non-tendered coming off the 60-day IL just because it's pretty hard to bank on his rehab, and I don't know if anyone's going to put him on the 40-man roster because he was already kind of, when he got added this last offseason, was kind of a 50-50 maybe. I think some people were honestly a little surprised that he got added. So, but yeah, I mean, you're still going to you have Benson, you have Hines, you have Blake Dunn. All three of those guys, it does not feel like all three of those guys will survive the offseason. I mean, ultimately we'll see, but it doesn't feel like all three will. Blake Dunn was really bad in the big leagues, but he has played well the last couple months. I think he has like over 400 on base percentage for over a couple months down there. He had like a 35 game on base streak or something like that. But he just hasn't really shown any power at all. So Blake Dunn's probably the one that if I had to pick out of those is probably the most likely to maybe, but I don't know.
I think every time you get into that 40-man roster crunch, there's always some opportunities to cut bait with some players that the end of the road has come to be. Not trying to go into the details of that on this show because I don't think that it will really lend itself to a whole lot of positivity when you're talking about guys that you're probably just going to cut. But the guys that you had just mentioned, I don't think there's many people that are going to be, losing sleep over whether or not one of those guys doesn't come back. Especially when you consider the age that they're at, Nick, especially when you consider the fact that this team, you'd like to think next year has enough pieces to get it done. I know we've been saying that for quite some time, but these guys are getting to the point now where they've had some experience in Major League Baseball in this core. They should be legitimate players by now. The getting the feet wet thing is really come to an end for many of these guys. Noelvi Marte, Matt McLean, certainly, and Elly, those three guys in and of themselves. Not that long ago, we were saying, hey, they're fresh, they're new, they're trying to figure everything out. Well, it's about time to put the big boy pants on heading into next season because they're going to be guys that they have to have. And we'll see what they do this offseason. But I'm just going to openly say again, if you're looking forward to or you're wanting to watch some of these younger guys play, and I'm not saying I don't. I'd love to see Sal Stewart, sure. I don't know whether Rodriguez or whoever it is that you think deserves an opportunity at this big league level. They're not going to get it unless the season's over. I could be wrong, but that's the way it looks.
Or there's an injury.
Okay, that's fair. You can give that out. That's fair. So,
Christian Encarnacion Strand should also be lumped into that group too. He's not an outfielder, but he's certainly in that group of players.
Hayes is an interesting cat, ain't he? I mean, he hit a ball hard tonight. Almost had a home run in Chicago the other night. You could very easily say that he could have had a couple big hits, but he didn't. That's the thing. You could say ifs, ands, and buts all you want, but at the end of the day, you got to get it done when it matters the most. And it just seems like he has struggled in some big spots, and he's just not a guy that you stick in the spot that he's currently in and you feel great about. And it's not, again, it feels like we get mad at all these guys because we're expecting them to be something maybe they're not because the Reds are putting them in a spot where they need to be that person. But Hayes being a cleanup hitter has not been ideal.
You have to clarify now because I thought you were talking about Cabrian. Up until you said cleanup hitter.
No, Austin.
It's funny now we have to do that. Yeah,
Brian's played well.
Yeah, Austin Hayes. That's why I thought that's what you were saying. Yeah, Austin Hayes has had a wild year. Still has crushed lefties, so I don't know. I don't really have an issue with him batting cleanup. I guess like who else are you putting there?
Yeah, that's where you get depressed. I gotta tell you. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure there's some people that want Spencer Steer. I mean, he has an OPS that's 100 points lower than Austin Hayes over the year. Batting Noelvi Marte cleanup. I mean, like, who are we batting cleanup?
How bad has he been against right-handed pitching?
Pretty bad. I mean,
worse than Andujar.
Yeah, I think he's been worse than Andujar, but he hasn't been nearly as good against lefties.
It just seems like maybe those guys are, I don't know. But again, we're sitting here.
He has a 695 OPS against right-handed pitching. I mean, it's not great, but I mean, I think people go, oh, that's terrible. Go look at like Eugenio Suarez's career splits. Go look at Nick Castellanos' career splits. Like almost all their value comes against hitting lefties. But he's been pretty bad of late. It's like 294 on base percentage against right-handed pitching and a 418 against left-handed pitching.
Yeah. There's always a problem with most of the guys that we're going to sign from a free agent perspective because we can't afford guys that don't have problems. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. There's always going to be baggage, whether somebody's got maybe splits that they got to be a platoon guy, or they have some injury history issues, or they're reaching the backside of their career to where maybe many teams are questioning how many quality years they have left. There's always going to be something. So that's why we keep going back to the same old point probably far too often, which is we've got to find ways for guys like CES or someone like CES to come through our system and be that legitimate middle of the order, big bat. And hopefully CES can be it. I know people are going to think I'm crazy for saying that. I don't know. Are we sure we've seen enough? That's kind of where I'm at.
He doesn't even have 500 career at-bats, and half of them he's been hurt, and it's been scattered. No, there's not been enough. I mean, think of the way people thought of Noelvi Marte this time last year, and now he's part of the future again. It can flip pretty quick. So I mean, certainly it's been a disappointing year for CES. I've certainly lost a little bit of faith. I'm not going to lie, but I haven't given up all hope on him. There's still time for him.
That there is. All right. Speaking of time, we have another baseball game to be played tomorrow. A little bit of who, what, when, where, and why. We've kind of already referenced the starting pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates because, quite frankly, we were looking for a split, but we got a flamethrower of our own. Nick, take it away.
Yeah, Chase Burns back on the mound after his one inning in Bristol was very dominant. Struck out 2 batters, only threw 18 pitches. So hopefully feeling fresh and ready to go on Friday night at PNC Park, going up against Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller, 5-10 with a 3.89 ERA. Last start, it was at Coors Field. Did give up 7 hits and 5 runs in 5 innings. Gave up 3 home runs. That was the most he had allowed all season. Career, Reds have pretty good numbers, I guess, in his career. He has a 5.75 ERA, 3-6 in 17 starts. Although earlier this year, he threw 6 innings and just gave up 1 earned run. Active Reds are 31 for 118, so they've certainly seen a lot of Keller. Friedl is 2 for 21. Stephenson is 5 for 20 with a homer. Steer, really good numbers, 7 for 19, a homer, and 4 extra base hits. Fraley's 5 for 15. De La Cruz, 2 for 13 with a double. Keller throws a whole bunch of pitches. Fastball, 94. His curveball has been his best pitch this season. And Chase Burns, since that debacle in Boston, ERA's in the 4s, but you look at some of the peripheral numbers, he's got a 2.15 FIP in 23 innings since then. So maybe due for a big start against the Pirates. Hopefully can make the Pittsburgh Pirates look like the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Little Paul Skenes-esque type outing where you're just dominating. And I've said before, I'll say it again, man. I mean, the kid's not that far off to me from what Paul Skenes is. He's just, I think that he has the makeup. He has the ability to be very similar. Now,
and
tip your pitches,
back half,
maybe not.
The back half of the Reds bullpen is fresh, too. That'll be nice, too. I mean, you got Pagan's had now 3 days off, or 2 days off. Santillan basically had 2 days off. He threw 2 pitches. Ashcraft, Barlow has had a couple days off. So at least you have at least you're back in your bullpen as days off. So if Burns can just give you 5 really good innings, you're set up pretty well.
If you have not already, please like the stream. That would be very, very, very nice on a night like tonight, because I got to tell you, we're going to need all the likes we can get for the algorithm for this type of baseball game. So also, for those that have went and left a review on the Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts, thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it, and it helps. Every little bit goes a long way. I even go back a couple weeks ago where we went to Smoke Justice, and all of you guys kind of supported that as well. I'm going to wait for a better, maybe more appropriate time to give a shout out to some folks that sent us some pretty cool sunflower seeds, maybe on a night where we have some more excitement.
Got those today.
Did you? I was going to say, I don't know if you knew that those were coming, but those are pretty cool. We'll show those off. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's really not much else to say, Nick. It's an unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in, where we got to play perfect to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why you got to get mad earlier in the year. It's like, if you're going to get mad, let's get mad earlier in the year when we had opportunities to win baseball games that we didn't. And tonight, they never had a chance to win. They just didn't. They were never the better team. Not even a single second of the baseball game, as much as we'd like to convince ourselves that was the case. It just wasn't. You get blanked, you lose 7-0. Kind of hard to sit here and second guess any decisions, isn't it? All right, we do have Chatterbox Bengals. They are going to basically be live here in just a moment. We are going to redirect you over to their stream. So we would kindly ask you, these folks are going live late into the night. We would kindly ask you to hang around, have some fun in their chat as they kind of try to continue to grow what is Chatterbox Bengals. And as I've said before, I'll say it again. We're gonna make a strong push here for some content this fall, and I am excited for it, and I am hopeful that we can kind of get our legs underneath us in some areas that maybe perhaps in the past we weren't incapable of doing. Chatterbox Bengals, one of them, and there's obviously another area that we have had in the past that we'd like to maybe get some legs underneath as well. We'll save that announcement perhaps for another day. But in the meantime, I want everybody to know we appreciate you. We love you. I can't tell you how many times I looking over and we're in the 170s, 180s, 200s on a night like tonight is pretty insane. Thank you to everyone who super chatted, and I just want everybody to please do me a favor and make sure, if nothing else, you hang around, you jump on that news stream, you hit the like button, say something nice to him. Reed does take a beating most of the summer, and then all of a sudden Bengals comes around and he's everybody's best friend again, which is kind of funny to me, and I like that. So, Nick, anything that you'd like to add here before we send it over to what would be Chatterbox Bengals.
Yeah, my last thought, hopefully the Reds can get some help this weekend. The Padres, they're facing off against the Red Sox, who are playing really, really good baseball. Please God, Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Brewers are 31-9 in their last 40 games. I swear to God, if that team plays poorly against the New York Mets this weekend, I'm gonna put curses on that franchise, because I feel like it happened in, I think, 21. It happened in 23, where like they just went on this crazy run, and then sure enough, when the Reds needed them to play well against the Cardinals or whoever late, they just completely crapped the bed. So need that for sure. So hopefully the Reds can get some help there. And then the Phillies, they're at the Texas Rangers, who also another team, one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. So hopefully the Reds can get some help this weekend, and we'll hopefully come back Sunday night. And Trace, what do you think? What do you think happen? What do you think we come back to on Sunday night? I mean, that's maybe the craziest, funnest thing.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing with coming back on Sunday night, is because there are times where you leave on a night like tonight and you feel disappointed, and you come back on Sunday and you're ripping fireball shots and everybody's singing Kumbaya. It is insane. I'm gonna say that they're gonna go 2-2. I just think that's what 4-game series seems like they do more times than not. But I don't know. You think you're taking 3-4, 4-3?
I'm not gonna bet that they go better than 2-1. I mean,
I said 4-3. I meant taking 3 or 4, or taking
so which would be
2.
2? Which would be 2-1? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I would bet. I hope they can win 3. That would be great, and we can have sky high vibes on Sunday night. That'd be great. The Bengals fellas are ready for us.
All right,
we bought
love
enough
that.
time.
Love that. Yeah, I've been trying to buy them. Trust me, I was buying some time, as much as one could possibly buy. So, all right, folks, we're gonna send you away off to their stream. We're gonna basically skip what will be the intro, just to make sure you guys can jump over there right now. We appreciate you. Stay right where you're at. You'll head over that way right now. Thanks.